Hello there. In this video we're going to sort of continue our discussion of the irrationality of radicals. So you should have already learned or discussed on how to prove that the square root of 2 is not a rational number, therefore proving that the square root of 2 is irrational. So we're going to extend this and do a couple more proofs on how to say prove the square root of 15 is irrational, how to prove the cube root of 17 is irrational, and pretty much prove that all irreducible radicals are indeed irrational. Alright, so the example that we're going to start with is we're going to try and prove that the square root of 11 is an irrational number, right? And this will pretty much gives us two different scenarios, the square root of an even irreducible and the square root of an odd irreducible. So we're not going to be considering like the square root of 4 and the square root of 9. We're going to be considering like the square root of 3 and the square root of 11, right? So those will be irrational numbers, and that will span the entire set of positive integers. And of course, square root of 0 would be rational, so we're not going to consider that extreme case, but of course it is even, so that would still work. All right. So how to prove? So we're going to assume the contrary, that the square root of 11 actually is in the set of rational numbers. If that is true, then that means there exist a and b with the greatest common divisor of them being equal, such that the square root of 11 is going to be equal to a divided by b. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to square both sides of this equation. So I'm going to have 11 is equal to a squared divided by b squared, forcing a squared to be equal to 11 times b squared, right? Now for the square root of 2 proof, this automatically gives us that a squared will be even, forcing a to be even, and then we can go through the motion of showing that b squared is even and b is even, therefore they have a common divisor, contradicting this, which therefore contradicts the original proposition. Right, but with this we do not have that contrary, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this up into cases. So case 1, so let us assume that b is even, and another case will be b is odd. So that means we need to have two contradictions here. So that means b is equal to 2k, where k is some integer. So if that is the case, that means a squared is going to be equal to 11 times 2k the quantity squared, which is going to be equal to 11 times 4k squared, which is the same as 2 times 11 times 2k squared, right? All right, so from here, what do we have? So we have a squared is equal to 2 times something, right? So this is, of course, this is in the set of integers, therefore this is an even number. So therefore we have a squared is even, which we can easily prove that a is even also, right? So if a is even, what do we have? Well, if b is even, we have that a is even, which means there's a contradiction. This is a contradiction to the greatest common divisor of a and b both being equal to 1. Because if both of them are even, we know 2 divides into both, right? So that gives us a contradiction, which completes the proof for case 1. Case 2. So let's consider the case where b is odd. Now this is a little bit more trickier, but let's assume b is odd, so that means there exists an integer k, such that b is equal to 2k plus 1. Alright, so that means a squared is going to be equal to 11 times 2k plus 1 the quantity squared, which is going to be equal to 11 times 4k squared plus 4k plus 1, once you distribute that out. So let's distribute this out and see what happens. So we have a squared is going to be equal to, so we have 44k squared plus 44k plus 11, which I'm going to decompose into 10 plus 1. You might be able to see why I want to do that. And then I'm going to factor out a 2 out of this expression. So I have a squared is going to be equal to 2 multiplied by 22k squared plus 22k plus 5, then plus 1. So remember that this, of course, is in the set of integers. So that means we have something like 2l plus 1, which of course is in the set of odd numbers. Right? So that means a squared is odd, which is going to force a to be odd. Right? So if a is odd, then that means a is in the form 2l plus 1, where L is in the set of integers, right? All right, so now let's work on the left-hand side. So we have that 2L plus 1, the quantity squared, is going to be equal to 2 multiplied by 22k squared plus 22k plus 5 plus 1. Let's follow this left-hand side out. So 4L squared plus 4L plus 1 is going to be equal to 2 multiplied by 22k squared plus 22k plus 5 plus 1. We can cancel out these ones from both sides. So then we have, what do we have here? So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So they cancel. So now we have 2L squared plus 2L is going to be equal to 22k squared plus 22k plus 5. So I'm going to factor out a 2 out of the left-hand side, so I have 2 times L squared plus L is equal to, and then I'm going to factor out a 2 out of these first two terms, 2 times 11k squared plus 11k. So now we've retrieved the original expression that was on the right-hand side. And let's decompose 5 as 4 plus 1 to make this a little bit more easier to see. Then we're going to have plus 2 plus 1, right? So remember, this is an integer, which means this left side is even. This is an integer, which means this right-hand side is odd. And since an integer cannot be even and odd simultaneously, so even cannot be equal to odd, that gives us our contradiction, which completes the proof of case 2, which overall proves that the square root of 11 is not a rational number. All right, so definitely the proof is a little bit more involved if the radicand of the square root is odd, but definitely not too complicated. All right, so since we've covered the even radicand and the odd radicand case, then we can sort of generalize this theorem up just a tad bit, right? So theorem, so let us assume if the square root of a cannot be represented as the square root of b squared is equal to b for some integer b in the set of positive integers, right? And if b was negative, then that would just be the absolute value of b, right? So if the square root of a cannot be represented as a perfect square, then, and of course provided a is a positive real, then the square root of a is not a rational number. And if you want to prove this, split this up into two cases. Show the case where a is even, show the case where a is odd, and they follow parallel proofs to the square root of 2 and the square root of 11 that we just did. All right. So now let's talk about other radicals like the cube roots, fourth roots, fifth roots, and so on. So let's try and prove that the cube root of 2 is not a rational number. So this is going to be more complicated. I don't know. We'll see. All right, so proof. All right, so we're going to assume the contrary. We're going to assume that the cube root of 2 is in the set of rational numbers, which means that there exist a and b in the set of integers. Let's assume they're non-zero, as we usually should, but sometimes I'll leave that out, such that the cube root of 2 is equal to a divided by b. All right, so if that's the case, I'm going to cube both sides. So 2 is going to be equal to a cubed divided by b cubed. Multiply both sides by b cubed. So I have a cubed is equal to 2b cubed, right? So here is our first obstacle to deal with. All right, so a cubed is even. That should be clear because b cubed is an integer multiplied by 2. So a cubed is in the form that we want, right? So if a cubed is even, that means a times a times a is even, right? So those are equal statements. So a can either be even or odd. So if a was even, if a was odd, a times a would be odd. So this is going to be an odd times an odd, which would also be odd, right? But if a is even, a times a is even, and an even times an even is another even, right? So if a cubed is even, then a is even too. All right, so that's cool. All right, so if that is the case, so let's keep that in mind. So we have that 2 is going to be equal to a cubed divided by b cubed if I just rearrange that equation, right? So that means what? Let's see. Let's rearrange this a little bit. Let's do it another way. Let's do a cubed divided by 2 is equal to b cubed. Is this what I want? Yeah. So now I'm going to use the fact that a is even. So that means a is going to be equal to 2k, where k is some integer, right? So that means we have 2k, the quantity cubed, divided by 2 is going to be equal to b cubed, which is going to give us 2 cubed k cubed over 2, which is going to be equal to b squared, b cubed, which is going to give us 2 times 2k cubed is equal to b cubed, right? So what does that mean? So that means b cubed is even, which means what? B is even too, right? So if b is even and a is even, that means the greatest common divisor of a and b is greater than or equal to 2, which contradicts the assumption that a and b are relatively prime. So if this is the case, that means the cube root of 2 is not a rational number. All right, so you may start to see that proving the general case for radicals is actually not dramatically difficult. So here's the general theorem. So we're going to consider the nth root of a, where a is a positive real number and n is a natural number. So starting at 1, 2, 3, and so on. And assume that there does not exist a k in the positive integers such that k to the power of n is equal to a, right? Because if that was the case, then the nth root of a would be equal to the nth root of k to the n, which is equal to k. And keep in mind, we're just working with real numbers. We're not talking about like roots of unity or any complex variable types of things here. All right, so that means that this is irreducible. So then the conclusion to this theorem would be that the nth root of a is an irrational number. So how would you prove this type of theorem? We're going to need 2 tools, which I leave to you as exercises. So the first one is k to the n is odd, if and only if k is odd. And we can sort of see that with the cube property in the last example. Also, if kn is even, this is true if and only if k is even. Combining these 2 properties together with the assumption that n is a natural number, then the proof of this more general irreducible radical theorem definitely comes as an immediate result. Anyway, I invite you to go through that proof on your own to sort of test your proof by contradictions and parity constructions, because using these tools shouldn't be that difficult. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video.